Tampa Bay versus Green Bay. What do you guys got?
When you look at a player like Tom Brady and you see his last throw in New England being an interception against the Tennessee Titans, and you look at him now wearing a Tampa Bay Bucks uniform in the NFC championship game. NFC. He is no longer playing in the AFC. He is on uh, the NFC, which was presumed to be a much harder division conference this year at the top. Now, Tom Brady has surpassed all expectations. I know the second he signed there, people had the team going to the Super Bowl and had them having far playoff runs. But then towards the season, mid-season, they were counting him out. They were like, oh, this team isn't legit. This team, they're a bunch of phonies, blah, blah, whatever. Tom Brady went and he said, I'm still Tom Brady. You know, the Patriots just didn't have a good season last year. We had a great defense the year before and a great defense then, but it just wasn't enough. You know, he needed that offensive firepower. And he revamped, reloaded, and got a roster that is probably one of my favorite to watch in the NFL. And for that reason, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are my choice for this matchup. Although they do have some very, very strong opponents on the other side, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are a really good duo and can win games by themselves. But I think they're just going to need a little more than that. And the Buccaneers have more than that to offer. That is the reason that I am going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this NFC Championship game.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to cut in. I can understand why you'd go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, they're a very exciting team. However, they are big in one department, and this is why I call them my pretenders, is their inconsistency. Look, they seem to be hitting their stride at the right moment, and that always happens with Brady teams. But if you look at the second half of the game, he had less than 100 yards. I believe he had one touchdown. I mean, it really was the defense carrying that series. And when you have an injured Drew Brees, an injured slant god, you're not going to have your offense going at full motion. Now you have a man on a mission in Aaron Rodgers trying to score, trying to be like show everyone that he's the greatest player to do it right now. And you're looking at it, and to be honest, I don't know if there is any team, even in the AFC, you're looking at it that can outplay Green Bay's offense. I'll be honest. If you're looking at it just on paper, yes, Tampa Bay has a better offense. Defense, you can argue, but you can argue to anyone. But you look at the consistency of Aaron Rodgers, of the ability of Aaron Rodgers to show up in these games. I wouldn't be surprised to see if the Green Bay Packers win this one.
Tom Brady too, though. He's been here before. A different conference, different division, but he's no shy of conference championships.
Yeah, I mean, it's always so hard to bet against Tom Brady, isn't it? But we had Lambo Leaper on the show before. He kind of convinced me a little bit of the Packers' chances. He convinced me that they are the team to watch, the team to beat in this year's NFL playoffs. And I think they got the skills, they got the tools to do it. There are 3 keys. We discussed this one, so go check this out. I'm not going to repeat everything we said on that show. It was a great watch, so definitely check that one out. But there are 3 keys that we discussed to beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers: protecting Aaron Rodgers, pressuring Tom Brady, and getting the run game going early. So if they get those things done, I think the Green Bay Packers have a great chance of winning this game. But it's so hard to bet against Tom Brady. We've done it for years. It's never quite worked out for us, has it? Brandon, what are your thoughts?
First off, I think it's just great that we are getting. First off, we got in the divisional round, we got Tom Brady versus Drew Brees, which okay, it's pretty much should have, like Tom Brady said, it should have been showed on the historic channel. It's 2 40-something-year-old quarterbacks, or History Channel, 2 40-something-year-old throwing quarterbacks trying to throw more than 10-yard passes, which, you know, at least for Drew Brees' sake, I mean, it seemed like it was a little bit difficult for him. It's I mean, and I've been saying this. Saints have always been a regular season team, no matter what seed they've got. Ever since that Super Bowl, they either missed the playoffs or got knocked out in the divisional round, or made it. I think they made it like once or twice to the conference to the championship game, but like that was it. And always Saints fans are going to say, "Oh, it's because we got screwed over by the refs or bad call or bad play or whatever, like one play away," which is whatever. But like I said, Saints are a regular season team. In terms of this matchup, Packers versus Brady. I mean, Rodgers versus Brady, getting another set of Hall of Fame quarterbacks going at each other. And listen, like Ben said, we're getting a pissed off Aaron Rodgers here. I mean, they drafted Jordan Love. I think it's been evident that he's trying to. I mean, they were pretty much run defense away from making the NFC Championship, making the Super Bowl last year over the 49ers. And you think about what this Tampa team is. They're more of a pass-heavy offense more than – I mean, Fournette and Ronald Jones are guys that they do run the ball, but their offense is pretty much have Brady throw the ball 30, 40-something times a game. And I think the Packers defense are very much set up to do so and to counter that. What I like more about, I mean, obviously with Tampa, you're obviously getting, you're getting a more dynamic offense. I mean, just name names alone: Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown. Like I said, the other two running backs,
Gronk.
You're getting a more named offense.
Gronk.
Probably a more potent offense. And for whatever reason, New England's leftovers actually have been turning out to do well. I mean, we've I think the last time a former New England player has done well was probably like Wes Welker with the Broncos. I don't remember the last time a former New England player has done well outside of New England. But Tom Brady, I mean, that second half of the season has really proved that, it's Tom Brady of old. I'm still going to take the Packers, though. Again, I really like their defense in this situation against the Bucks. I would really much think it's going to be a gunslinging game. There's going to be two guys really gunslinging the ball. But I'd be really surprised to see how much Aaron Jones is going to be effective in this offense, because Tampa does have a good run stop defense, especially that defensive line.
Yeah,
because
Pierre-Paul and Sue,
Sue is like finding like his old Lions form somehow. I mean, they have Devin White, who's been a great. I mean, that whole defense is pretty much young guys that have been like proven to do really well. But I'll be really interested to see how well Aaron Jones is effective in this game. But I would expect Devontae Adams to go off in this game and to be the main target.
Yeah, well, I was kind of joking around. I was laughing when you were talking about the Saints being a regular season team, because I remember earlier in the season you got into quite a Twitter beef, if you want to call it that, with a Saints fan. You were saying that, listen, don't get too high on what the Saints are doing right now.
I mean, it's true, though.
They always seem
to if you sputter and fail. You look statistically, ever since their Super Bowl, they either missed the playoffs. Yes, okay. Maybe a season or two was because of Bounty Gate, which is fine.
I mean, let's look at that PI that was missed against the Rams.
But like let's look at
the Minneapolis Miracle. They're losing.
But that's
again. I'm saying they were always a
blown coverage
away, but also they
and a
put
missed
themselves
call.
into those positions. They blown leads and put themselves into position where the refs made a 50-50 call that just didn't go their way.
It was not a 50-50 call. The guy blatantly.
Okay, that one, yes, obviously
they changed the rules because of that call.
Whatever the ref was, I mean, and then they reverted back because no one
was successful in challenging.
Obviously, whatever the ref was, obviously the ref just didn't see it or whatever. He was seeing something else.
Money talks.
Ghosts. He was seeing ghosts.
He's not Sam Darnold. But I don't know. For me, the Saints have always been a regular season team ever since they won that Super Bowl. Besides Bounty Gate and besides that one hit, I mean
the Miracle, a blown coverage. I mean, you can go back and look at
that's their own fault.
No, it's that one defensive
You wanna
player.
know what happened though? So
What?
that guy, he knows that in Madden when you do the hit stick, it's like a 50-50 fumble chance. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go for glory and try and get the fumble, but he ended up costing his team the place against not the Ravens,
Philadelphia Eagles that went
yeah.
on to win the championship that year.
Okay, but just kind of reverting back to what we were talking about. One of the main reasons why Tom Brady has struggled this season is not only that he went up against good defenses, we saw him struggle against the Bears. One of the hardest things that he's had to go up against is that he's had to sit in the pocket more. He's had to absorb a lot more pressure than he did in New England. And Green Bay is in the top half ranked of quarterback pressures, and I think that's going to turn out incredibly. It's going to be an incredible factor when you're going into this, when looking at this game from the offset. Yes, it's Tom Brady, but the coverage is good enough to at least hold him down for a couple seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sacks on Tom Brady this game.
He gets rid of that ball quick though, especially this season. It's notoriously quick. It's probably one of the quickest times that he's ever had, just because he is getting older and he does need to protect himself more often. And with a defense like this, you best believe that this team is going to be throwing it and throwing it quick. They're going to be running bubble screens. They're going to be running slants to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They're going to be getting the ball out of Brady's hands as quickly and as easily as possible. They are not going to put Tom Brady in the concern of getting hurt. That is probably the last thing that's on their game plan. So making sure the ball gets out quick is definitely priority number one. And if they establish that in the beginning of the game, if they establish the run, get off, score early, and they really control the game script, there is no doubt in my mind that Tom Brady wins this game. Sam said it best earlier. You cannot bet against Tom Brady.
Yeah, well, I said that, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it again. I still got the Packers winning this game. I still think that that's the ultimate winners of that game. And I think the key does come down to is trying to slow down Brady's ability to be Tom Brady. And teams have tried doing that for years, and it's always a difficult thing to do that. But I think it's possible. I think that they have an offense that can compete with the Buccaneers offense, but then they also have a defense that can slow them down.
I just found this article from Sportsnaut. They took the last final teams and they ranked them. They have Green Bay second. And honestly, if you look at the matchups, Jair Alexander on Chris Godwin, Jair Alexander is one of the best corners in this game. He's going to shut him down. Just a couple stats though. The second half of the season, Green Bay averaged a 10-7 TD to interception ratio, and had 23 sacks. Like, they can get to the quarterback and they can also play your best receiver. Yes, Tampa has multiple great receivers, but I would suspect that either what's going to happen is either Tom Brady's going to be rushed or that they're going to play back. And I would like to think that Green Bay has a good enough defense to stop Tom Brady. They held Derrick Henry to a 100-yard rushing game. Like a less than 100-yard rushing game, I do believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the main key in this game is definitely going to be who gets out and jumps to the lead first and establishes a run game. But I'm really excited to see the battle of the QBs who we've always regarded as the GOAT and then the second GOAT of this era. So it's going to be definitely one of the best playoff matchups we've had so far this postseason, and a must watch, right? Regardless of who you are. It's playoff football. No matter what you're doing, you better be tuning into this one. So to quickly recap, I'm taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who are you guys taking?
I'm taking Green Bay.
Okay. Ben?
Green Bay.
I'm not putting my money on it, but I am putting my pick out there. Okay. Green Bay will win.
So 3 Green Bay, 1 Tampa Bay. It feels interesting being the lone guy taking Tom Brady. So we'll see how that pans out. But I definitely see your guys' points, and it's going to be a game that is going to be remembered for a long time for sure. So make sure you're staying tuned.